Welcome to the Raynin Threes podcast with Alan Ray and Mike O'Connell. Hello and welcome to the 18th episode of the Raynin Threes podcast. I'm your host, Mike O'Connell, here with Naismith Player of the Year finalist and AP All-American, Alan Ray. Hey, Ray and I have a special guest for you guys tonight as we welcome the former Drexel guard, the two-time national champion and now current Villanova assistant coach, Ashley Howard. Coach, thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate you joining us.
Mike, it's my pleasure, man. Happy to join you guys tonight.
Definitely good having you here, Coach. And, we about to talk some basketball like we do all the time. I think it's going to be a great one. And I'm really excited and want to say thank you for coming on here.
No, absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys asking me to join.
All right. Let's get right into it. First question I just wanted to ask you, Coach, was what defines a Villanova basketball player? Like, what are the qualities, characteristics that, like, coaches look for? So, me being a former player and the many former players that come before me, I just want to know, like, what is it that makes a Villanova player? Like, what makes a Villanova guard? How can you tell when you're watching recruits or looking at transfers that like, okay, this guy will fit in our system?
Well, the one thing I'll say, A-Ray, is that you and the rest of your brothers, man, you guys set a really high bar, right? So, when we're on the trail and we're recruiting and we're evaluating players, obviously we're looking with guys that have a certain level of talent. But then we try to look past the talent and identify guys that are team guys that have won either in high school or if they're transfers, guys that have been a part of winning programs that understand that in order to be a part of a winning team, you got to make certain sacrifices, right? We've always had the luxury of being able to recruit guys that could, dribble, pass, and shoot on the perimeter. And then guys that are willing to defend, play with toughness, play with a sense of the intangibles are important. Like you have some players that are like star players that say, "Oh, I don't got to dive on the floor. I don't have to take charges. I don't have to do those things. That's not me.
Yeah.
I get buckets." But trying to find those rare players that can score, that can get busy, but they also going to get it out the mud if need be and defend and grind and rebound and do all the intangible things that really equate to winning. So, it's hard identifying those guys. So when we identify guys that we think have that mold, we gotta recruit them aggressively. But then there's certain players that they may not have all of those things, but we may see them and say, like, all right, you know what? This kid can do X, Y, and Z. If he's a part of our culture, we can get him to do the other things that'll help him be a complete Villanova basketball player. And then that's where, you just got to evaluate and, use our connections to kind of get the real information about who they are as people.
Yeah, that's a great point because I kind of put myself in that situation. Like I came out of high school, I was a really good scorer. And then like we start practicing with Coach Wright and like he's on me about defense. I'm like, yo, like what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like and then like trying to get the defensive schemes down was also a challenge for me as well. But like what you said, like you can bring a player in and then teach them how to be big time players. And that's what I did. Like I came in there and I felt like I learned so much, and then I became a big time player because of the school, the system, and like the way you guys teach. So I really like that point that you said about, even if the guy doesn't have all the tangibles, but you feel like he can fit in the system and like he'll grow in the system. And that's one of the biggest things with Villanova basketball. I think that gets overlooked is like the development that goes on there and how guys develop. Like Mikal Bridges is one of the biggest examples of like continuous development during the year. So I'm glad you said that. And I want people to understand that about Villanova. Like, we're definitely a great school, but at the same time, like, we develop players as well.
No, that's important for us, man. And it's not just the basketball piece, A-Ray, as I'm sure you know, like, we take pride in developing our guys as men, right? So, you come to Villanova, it's not just a spot where you're coming to play basketball and, people are just catering to you 24/7 and you're treated like a rock star. Our guys go to class, our guys wake up early, they're lifting, they're monitoring their body fat, their weight, their nutrition. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do a lot of things that really disrupt like a 18-year-old's complete ecosystem of how they operate in life. And we try to, get them to understand the importance of like the details and everything they do. And, hopefully, they'll develop as players and then they'll leave Villanova as men prepared for whatever situation that they may encounter, whether it's the NBA, whether it's business, whether it's going overseas, what have you. Like, our guys have the mindset that they're prepared for whatever they're going to be faced with in life. And that's stuff that we take a great deal of pride in, man. And I'm happy to share this moment with you because I know that you, Randy, Mike Nardi was on our staff. Like, you guys really laid the foundation for what it is, right? So,
Yeah.
So like now, like, for us, it's easier for us now as coaches because, we've had great players like you guys that really set the tone for what Villanova basketball would become.
Yeah, and that's a great point as well. I want to share this story with you with me and Coach Wright. I believe it was my senior year, and I mean, I obviously I do good in school. I was doing my work and everything, but this senior year, I'm thinking about NBA. I already got one foot out the door, and I ended up getting to the point where I was almost failing the class.
Wow.
And if you fail in if you don't have a certain GPA, like, you can't play. So I kind of was like on that border. I was on that borderline. Like, this is senior year. I'm focusing straight basketball. And Coach Wright got a hold of, my classwork, my GPA, everything like that. And he's like, you're in danger of failing. Like you're gonna be ineligible. And me, I done been there 4 years, big time player. I'm thinking like, Coach Wright gonna cover this up for me. He gonna look out for me like he's not a big problem. He straight up told me like, "Hey Ray, I am not helping you. Like, if you don't get this together, you won't be playing your second half of your senior year." And like, that was a big wake up call for me. That was a big shock for me. And like, that helps me become a man, like you said, like off the court, like taking care of business, like everything just isn't on the court and like not being babied. So I really appreciate Coach Wright for that, for not like babying me and going to the teachers and being like, you got to pass this guy and all that other stuff. Like, that was a big life lesson for me. I came from the Bronx, man, South Bronx. It was a big culture shock for me, even coming to Villanova. And, the amount of things that I learned there is just unbelievable. I can't even put a price on it.
Nah, man, that's the culture that Coach set, man.
Yeah.
And the bar has been raised high. We're just trying to uphold the culture that's been created, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Coach Seth Greenberg on the show a few months back, and he talked about the Villanova culture and the program and what it's built up to be. Starting with back, with the days of Kraft, Al Severance, and into the days Raleigh Massimino, Steve Lapis, then Coach Wright, now with Coach Neptune. And he talked about having a home at Villanova, right? That's the beauty of a lot of the alumni. They graduate, they go on to bigger and better things sometimes if they're playing basketball in the NBA, overseas, what have you. But to have a spot back where we always welcome with open arms. We talked about Corey Fisher before we started recording about how important he's been to the system, coming back to Villanova as a home. Hey, Ray, doing this podcast with me, I feel like I'm now close to Villanova just through Ray because of you jumping on with us and former coach Steve Lapp is jumping on with us. So it's a very important thing. The bar, like you said, has been set so high, and it's just really been fun to see it in action. And I think it's really cool that you guys now in the different landscape of what the NIL and transfer portal brings to Villanova, we ran out and got 4 guys that fit that bill, that fit those qualities and characteristics that you guys look for in not just, players, but men, right? And whether they're 18 years old and now they're, 21, 22 years old, they're a little bit older, they got that experience. We saw that right away with game 1, right? They're diving on the floor for loose balls. They're picking each other up. And they're making plays all over. Exactly right. They're doing whatever it takes to play Villanova basketball and get to really earn their respect of not just their current players, but their former players being like, all right, these guys can step in and really act like Villanova players. So I just want, maybe a few more words from you, Coach, on what you've seen from the transfers, Tyler Burton, TJ Bamba, Hakeem Hart, Lance Ware. What have you seen from those guys and how do they fit in with the Villanova program?
I mean, 4 great guys. Love them all. Like, they're all guys that, to be honest, like, had they come to Villanova out of high school, like, there's so many times where we said, like, damn, man, if we had this guy for 3 years, like,
right,
we could get them to a certain level. So, they're all great guys, unselfish, and I commend them because they're coming in after having experiences other places and habits that they've built elsewhere, and they're older guys now trying to learn a new system with only a year, right? So it's like, imagine being a senior and now, like, you have the pressure of, like, yo, wanting to do well in my last year, goals and aspirations as an individual, and now I'm coming in, I'm learning a new system, I'm being challenged in ways I've never been challenged before, and they're just embracing it. A guy like Hakeem Hart was at Maryland, had a different role. You know what I mean? In a transfer program, now he's at Villanova, and like, he's working through that, right? Like, and he's showing up every single day. He's going to class every day. He's not a problem. Like, he's doing all the things that we ask him to do. And I'm proud of these guys, right? I wish that we could have replicated that sensational series of dives that we had in American versus Penn, right?
right.
But we'll get them there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the challenge with this group, because the talent is there. I think the intention is there, but those guys got to understand, like, yo, you're at Villanova, man. Like, every night you're going to get the other team's best, the other team's best showing, right? And that's why you come to Villanova, because you want to be a part of a team where the expectations are that. You come to Villanova because you know that you're going to be a part of a team that, it's like a band of brothers, right? So, we have these new guys. We got some really quality returning guys, and they're gelling, they're meshing, and everybody's intentions are in the right place. It just takes time to really gel, and you got to go through some learning periods throughout the course of the season. But all in all, I think we got a really good team.
Yeah, I definitely agree too. And since we on the topic of we talking about the transfers, guys. So right now I really enjoy watching Bamba and Burton, and just for the reasons that you were saying, just guys coming from different programs and, putting the ego to the side and trying to fit in with what Villanova basketball does. And you got Lance Ware and Hakeem Hart as well. So I just want to know, like, what is the mood with these guys after the game against Penn? Obviously it wasn't a win what everybody wanted, but it's kind of like a learning experience. Like you said, it's something new. These guys don't understand what Big Five is. because I had to learn what Big Five was when I first got in. Because I took it, I didn't think it was real. Nothing. I didn't think it was like real challenging, to be honest. But I've taken some losses in Big Five.
Mhm.
So, like, what do you think the mood is now around the team and these guys with like their first kind of big test going into the season and getting a little taste of like what Big Five is like?
Well, I think the reality is that our guys, got 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 manhandled on Monday. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, like that's not what we're about. Um, we can look each other in the eyes and feel good about any game that we play, win or lose. If we go out there and we play harder and more together than our opponent, that's what's most important for us, right? So, that didn't happen on Monday. We addressed it today in practice. Everybody understands what it is. And now I think everybody's in a position where they know it's time to respond, right? So,
Yeah.
that's where we are. The good thing about college basketball is you can't hold your head too long because we got another game on Friday night versus the Maryland Terrapins, who are a really talented team that are well coached and hold their hat on playing hard and playing together, right? So
Yeah.
we got a great opportunity ahead of us to respond for Monday. I think that's where our guys' heads are.
Yeah.
Nobody's feeling sorry for themselves. Everybody came in on their day off, watched film, took a look at themselves. The film doesn't lie,
At
right?
all.
And
At all.
and we went through that process, man, and now it's time to move on to the next game.
Yeah,
Right.
Coach. I mean, you guys had 41 missed shots on Monday night. Obviously, you got to expect to shoot at least a little bit better than that, right? That's what Villanova teams are used to. That's what this talented group is certainly capable of. Is hitting your threes, knocking down your shots when you need to, and the 2-3 zone seemed like it caused a lot of problems for Villanova. And was there anything else that you can kind of chalk up to those 41 missed shots other than the 2-3 zone? Was it the lack of being completely laser focused? Was that it, or was there something else that you saw out there?
Well, I mean, you're going to have games where you miss shots, right? And A-Ray knows this. We worry about defending and rebounding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we can miss as many shots as we want. We just want the other team to miss more shots than us, right?
Yeah.
Um, Penn out rebounded us. So, like our defense and our rebounding, like those are the things that we really focused on. You know, the missed shots, they're gonna come and go. We talked about, adjustments that we would probably make offensively, if we had to do it over again. But, in the end, man, Penn was comfortable the whole game. They were able to execute their game plan. Um, our guys didn't do a great job on the boards. And, when you're talking about like a 2 possession game, which it ended up becoming, there's so many different components to that game that you could identify that could have been the difference, man. You know what I mean? So, we, like I said, we watched the film and we attacked all the things that we needed to address, mainly our defense and our rebounding. And now we just gotta just gear up and get ready for Maryland.
Yeah. Definitely. And that was definitely one of the things that stood out to me was like the out rebound. And I know that's something big for the program, especially like playing with Coach Ray. And I'm sure with Neptune, that's a big emphasis is rebounding, especially if you're going to be playing guards. You got to
Yep.
get in there and rebound.
Yep.
So I definitely would like to see that next game from them guys. And like, we not sitting here criticizing them or anything like that. It's just what the program is built on. Like I wouldn't have been in the game if I didn't rebound and I wasn't defending. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel where you coming from on that front, and I believe that them guys will get it together because it's a really talented group, man. Whether you whether people want to believe it or not, we got a real talented group. We got a real deep roster. Guys can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. It's just a matter of just getting it all in sync, like you said earlier. So we'll just see when that happens. But I definitely have the faith in that will happen for sure.
Maintain the faith, Nova Nation. Maintain the faith.
Oh, for sure. Like
Thank you,
there's
Coach.
there's a lot of people out there, a lot of fans out there that's just literally on the edge right now on their balcony, just like hanging off the edge right now. Like, what would you have to say to like any of those people if you do have anything to say to them? Because I know we don't at Nova, we never really cared about any outside noise, like whatsoever.
The one thing that I would reiterate is like you're dealing with young people, and in our realm, like we're just so accustomed to just operating how we do. Twice a week these guys have to go out in front of the world and expose themselves on a platform that and be judged by everybody. Like that's what we signed up for. The reality is that um, in this new era, right, of social media and what have you, it just says a lot to the world when you can just go on social media and see just the energy and the feedback that a program gets, the support they get, whatever, through tough times. You know what I mean? Like, and I know Nova Nation is a very strong fan base. I think that one of the best fan bases in all of college sports. Let's just be mindful that everything that we put out there is a reflection of who we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our team is going to continue to work hard to be the best Villanova basketball team that we can be. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
in the end, we can't control the noise on our side, nor do we really pay attention to it. But other people do. Recruits pay attention to it. Other programs pay attention to it, right? So, just be mindful of the energy that you put out there in regards to your team, because it says a lot about, what, our fan base really is and what everybody's really about.
Good answer, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. We love that. And yeah, like we talked about, a lot of people were trying to hit the panic button. It's 3 games into the season, so maybe hold off on that a little bit. Just talking about Hakeem Hart. He's going in now to Maryland, his former team, former school that he played at throughout his college career, and now he's a Villanova Wildcat. Maryland comes into the Finneran Pavilion on Friday night to play. Is he going to play? Is he going to have a significant role? Has he talked about that? Voice is spinning that he wants to have a bigger role, a Hakeem Hart revenge game against his former team. Like, as we know, he only played 9 minutes against Penn. Is there any underlying tone of Hakeem getting a little extra fired up to play against his former club?
No, I mean, I think for Hawk, it's really about using this next game to just continue to be more connected with his teammates. Continue to learn and grow within our program. We believe as the season goes on, Hawk will continue to get better. Every game that we play is the most important game of the season for us, right? So, for Hawk, Friday is his next opportunity, right? So, obviously, all of the emotional attachments to the game it's human nature for him to feel those things. But I think going into these next couple of days as a staff, keep him focused on just doing all the things that he needs to do to be connected with his team. And if he can do that, then he'll have an opportunity to make an impact on the game.
Definitely. I know it wasn't the result that we wanted, but how do you feel about having a guy like Justin Moore on your team? A guy that can get it going in quick spurts, great defender, great leader. I know you gotta feel kind of comfortable as coaches on the sideline, knowing that you got a guy like that on the
Mhm.
court that you can rely on and trust to get everybody going. So how much of an impact does Justin Moore have on his team and him returning, coming back to play one more season? I really think that was the icing on the cake.
No, I mean Justin making the decision to come back for his final year was huge for everybody. We love him. He loves Villanova. He wanted to end his career here as a Wildcat. He's the leader of our program, the heart and soul of this team. He's won Big East championships. He's played in big time environments. And when you have a
Yes.
guy that's been through the fire at the level that Justin has, like there's an element of trust that everybody has in his decisions. There's an element of trust that everybody has, and like when he says something, his teammates listen, right?
Yeah.
And there's obviously an element of trust that we have in him as from a coaching staff perspective, because like, we know this dude has done it, right? So,
Yeah.
and he's done it, our way. He understands, our system. He understands our plays, our schemes. So, you have a guy on the floor that knows everything inside and out, and he can be the example for our other guys, especially new guys, right? With the amount of new guys we have, like he's unbelievably valuable, right? Because
Hmm.
he's like that next guy. Like we say all the time, like in our program, you know, Jalen Brunson at Arch and Phil Booth, and then Mikal Bridges had Darren Hilliard and Josh Hart, and then Dante had those guys. So like all of our
Aaron
great players,
Hillard.
all of our great players had older guys that they learn from. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
now Justin is that guy that our new guys are learning from. Um, and it's really cool to have him in the role that he's in. I recruited Justin early on, man, when he was young, before I left for LaSalle. So even when I was away, I was rooting for him from afar. And then now to have the opportunity to come back and coach him and just see how he's matured, and the leader that he's developing into is has been cool.
Yeah. I'm glad you brung up that too. I wanted to ask you, like, how the hell do y'all recruit like portal guys? Like, how do you recruit older guys that like come to Villanova? Because for so long it's been like, let's get high school guys to come and like we develop them, but now it's like, all right, we could go to the portal and grab a kid, but like, how do I know that this kid is gonna fit in my system? Like, how does that recruitment go? Like, are you going out to visit these kids? Or is it just phone conversations? And like nowadays, there's money involved. Like when I was coming up, Joe Jones, he came to the Bronx. We're in the park. We shooting hoops, eating Chinese food. Seriously. Like he came and like that's how we chopped it up. And like I felt automatically like this is family. Like I want to go to Villanova. Like he in the South Bronx with me in the park. We eating Chinese food and we shooting hoops. Like he want me to come to his
That's
school.
old school. That's old school recruiting tactics right
Yeah.
there. I love it. I love it.
So like how is it different now? Like nowadays in this age with
Hey, I wish
NIL
I
and
wish I can
all
get a
this.
recruit. I wish I can get a recruit this off a box of shrimp fried rice, man.
Oh
That'll be
man,
that'll be that'll be love if I can get a recruit
yeah,
just off
right.
Yo,
a steak and an egg roll, man. That'd be awesome.
yo, he
Oh,
definitely
the good
got me
old
like that.
days.
I ain't even gonna lie to you. Oh man. But what you think, man? Like, what's the difference now with recruiting from like back then in those days?
Well, I think the difference is, man, there's so many layers now. Um, and it's all relationships, right? So,
Hmm.
out of the transfer portal, you know, you usually get a phone call from somebody, whether it's a high school coach, AAU coach, somebody that's connected to a player, and they let you know that, kids entering the portal. And then once they enter the portal, you have access to them, to reach out. Um, it's funny, like with all of the guys that we got out of the portal, there was a relationship somewhere along the line, So, with Tyler Burton, you know, Coach Neptune and I both coached against him at Richmond, right? So,
Yeah.
when he was in the portal, or when we heard that he was thinking about maybe looking for another situation, then like we knew him, we coached against him. We were like, yeah, this dude can help us.
Right.
Hakeem Hart, local kid from Philly, we knew who he was, we knew his people, knew his family, right? Roman Catholic kid. So like there's connections in a relationship there already. Lance Ware played for Jalen Brunson's dad. Rick came to high school. We, recruited him out of high school, knew his family, connected to him. We knew him, right? TJ Bamba, New Bronx kid from New York City. Coach Neptune had great connections with his people. So, I think he got the phone call when TJ was going into the portal. So now, like for us, it's very rarely a situation where like you kind of don't know the guys. Especially for us, it's really important that we're bringing in good people. Like we don't want to bring in guys that are going to disrupt, our
What
culture,
I got going on. Yeah.
and compromise, what we say we're about. So we got to know the guys that we're dealing with. And like I said, like all of these guys are great dudes. They're all in their own way unique, but they're all Villanova guys. So we struck gold with this group of transfers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like we said already, we could tell right away just from game one that they were bought in that way. And sure, it might take a tough game in the Big Five to show them that we always got the target on our back, being Villanova. That's just how we roll. We were within the dogs of the Big East for a long time, and we're gonna take everybody's best shot, no matter what night it is. And whether it's in November or it's in March, it's always gonna be a tough battle, no matter who you play. And Friday night, just a little bit more on Maryland, Coach. I know obviously you had some ties to the program with your father, playing there for 4 years, winning an NIT championship there under Lefty Drysdale. I mean, they were ranked number 2 in the country all 4 years that he was there. A pretty impressive resume then your dad then went to go on to play in the NBA for a couple of seasons. So can you get us just a little bit into the Maryland program and what to expect from them on Friday night?
Well, Maryland's a tough team, man. Kevin Willard is a longtime coach at Seton Hall, who's very familiar with Villanova, and we've had some wars with Coach Willard's teams at Seton Hall. So I don't expect anything different on Friday night. Great coach, great staff, talented team. They have, some local guys on their team, and Donta Scott, who was a great player at Imhotep High School, coming home in his senior year to play against us. It's like it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. Justin Moore and their leading scorer Jameer Young, they were high school teammates. So
Right.
like there's a lot of back line stories that Hakeem Hart, former player, the whole deal. So, we just got to go in there. We got to play Villanova basketball. We got to respond. We got to do all the things that we know are essential to winning the game. But it's going to be a battle. Maryland is they're coming off of losing 2 games. So, Coach Willard is going to have those guys teed up, ready to play on Friday. So it's, 2 teams that are going to be responding, kind of fighting early on in the season, like to preserve their seasons here. So, we're looking forward to just, the opportunity to go out there and compete on Friday.
Yeah, that's a great point. I completely forgot about that, but Coach Willard definitely was at Seton Hall, so he's definitely familiar with Villanova. And then Maryland definitely lost 2 games in a row, so they coming in. They're gonna be hungry. I know they definitely gonna be hungry. Um, but what are your thoughts on the Gavitt games and like what makes them so special? And especially on that night, we got Mikal Bridges getting honored. And what's your relationship with Mikal? Like you can see it like when you was at the school when Mikal was there, like the relationship, the closeness. Like, can you elaborate a little bit about like what that relationship with Mikal means and like how you helped him grow into being the player and the person that he is now?
Well, it's crazy because Mikhail, um, he's like one of my favorite players, man, of all time.
I
He's
could
just
tell.
he's just a special person. Unbelievable worker. Comes from a great family. His mom did an unbelievable job raising him. And initially, I was an assistant coach at Xavier,
Hmm.
and I started recruiting Mikhail because I knew some of his relatives, and they sent me a highlight tape of him, right? So I'm like, man, this skinny guy ain't bad, right? Right? And I'm recruiting him, and then I transitioned to Villanova, and Villanova was recruiting him as well. Billy Lang was here. Billy was recruiting him. So
Billy.
then now we sort of kind of tag teamed him, right? And we were able to get him to commit. Um, and you know, Mikhail, he wasn't who he is now
Yeah.
when we recruited him. So his senior year, man, this dude has some games where you're looking at this dude like, I don't know if this dude is gonna be good enough, right? But but we always knew that his best basketball was ahead of him because he had a great IQ and
Mhm.
he had unbelievable skills for his size, right? And he came in as a freshman, and you know what? There were times when we thought like, yo, this guy can play. And then he came to us before the season started and asked the red shirt, which was
So he asked.
he asked the red
Mhm.
shirt. It was
Right.
it was like an unbelievably mature decision because in our minds as a staff, we were thinking we wish we could just redshirt him.
Uh-huh.
And he came and he made it easy for us because he said, "Yo,
Right.
I
Right.
want the red shirt." And when he made the decision that he was going to redshirt, he and I, we just got after it every day, right? In the mornings, um, you know, at night, his pregame workout used to be like an obstacle course where he's like ducking pads and dribbling and going to the basket, and I had the walk-ons tackling them, and it was crazy. It was crazy. Uh, and uh, and and you just saw him kind of morph into like this really confident, silent killer, right? I thought John Shackleton did a great job with him over the years, developing his body where he got stronger. And you could see over the years where he became more explosive, right? But honestly, I think a significant part of Mikhail's development at Villanova was like the dude had to guard some really good players every day in practice.
Hmm.
You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, as a
Hmm.
freshman, he had to guard Darren Hilliard, he had to guard Phil Booth, he had to guard Arch, he had to guard Josh Hart. Then he had to guard Jalen
Yeah.
Brunson and all those guys, right?
Yeah.
And really, he became a guy that could guard everybody, right?
Hmm.
And as he developed, and you could see it happening. He developed his shot. He became more explosive. He started attacking the basket, and then the rest was history for him, right? But the one thing that he always did was he never worried about offense. He always took pride in attitude, and Ari knows this. We got attitude club, and
Hmm.
Mikhail's thing was like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna win attitude," and that's all in the intangibles. And he mastered that, right? So like he might be the one guy in our program. And honestly, I didn't even realize Mikal averaged 17 a game his last year. I didn't realize, because I was always on him. I'm always on him about what he's not doing. I didn't even realize he averaged 17 a game. But he might be like the dude that Mikal Bridges was known for his defense, his intangibles, changing the game defensively. We put him at the top of our press. Even as a freshman, he would come in and just change the game, steals, deflections, dunks, right? And to see him in a position where he's getting his jersey retired, man, for me, it's going to be an emotional day because, I had the privilege of being with him while he was putting that work in and seeing it firsthand how he developed. And I'm grateful for having that opportunity to coach him. And, he continues to represent our program in an unbelievable way. Proud of him, and I'm sure like he'll continue to do great things. As we've seen him with Phoenix and Brooklyn and Team USA. So unbelievable ambassador for the university, great person. Anybody that knows Mikal, they don't talk about him as a player, and they talk about him as a person. One of the best people you ever meet. And so, well deserved, and I'm looking forward to being there for his big moment.
Most definitely. That's awesome, Coach. You got me feeling a little choked up over here, and I just had the pleasure.
Don't do it, Mike. Don't cry.
I just had I had the pleasure of knowing Mikal just as a friend and a classmate. Got it. Then we had some mutual friends, and he was always very pleasant. And I remember my roommate, freshman sophomore year. He's 6'8". He's like this Croatian dude. He would play club basketball and everything. And I remember walking to class with my roommate Stefan, and Mikal walked by us, and Mikal was like, "Damn, he big as hell! Like, why isn't he on the team?" So it was the funniest thing ever. And we dapped him up and we started talking, just talking.
Sounds just like Mikal.
It was an hysterical thing, and I knew since then I would say what up to him and everything, and just a lot of great memories. Obviously from his teams, and we had Phil Booth on the show last week, and he told us a story against Alabama in the second round of that 2018 national championship run. He had 1 point at halftime. Coach Wright kind of lit a fire under his butt a little bit, and in the second half he came out and dropped a game high 22. So it just was very funny. Those stories.
That was an incredible. I mean, honestly, that's one of the best performances I've seen of anybody. His second half versus Alabama in the second round of the tournament, 18, he was unbelievable.
Oh man,
what was I doing? Why didn't I see that game? I'm sure I was somewhere overseas, like seriously.
You was overseas getting buckets yourself, man.
This is toward the end of my career, so I probably was like in my room with ice bags over me or something like that. For real.
Oh, that is awesome. But no, I'm sure the ceremony is going to be really special. It's going to be fun. We'll be in the city supporting from here, but really just going to be a special night. I know you guys are going to have the players really fired up and getting ready to bounce back against a hard-nosed, hungry Kevin Willard coach Maryland team, but we can't wait for it. And Coach, thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate you hopping on with us. Just a fantastic conversation, and we just want to say thank you.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. And let's go, Nova Nation. We need your support. Come out. Make sure you show up to the watch party. Make sure you pack the fin on Friday night. We're going to need that energy versus the Maryland Terps.
That's what's up, Coach. That's what's up, Coach. Definitely. I appreciate you coming on here. I definitely will see you at some point during this season. I think about coming out to that UCLA game. Check you guys out for sure. But definitely appreciate you coming on here, keeping it real with us, talking Nova basketball, and letting us know exactly what it is and where we at right now. And definitely going to continue to support you guys. You got my support 100%. Never folding on Nova ever. I don't care if you guys lose 15 games in a row. Like, I'm still going to be there rooting you guys on, which I know won't happen. But just want to say that I'm here, got the support for you guys, and appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate your support, and hope to see you guys soon.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right.
And Coach, yeah, we'll send the link over to you. Anything you want, if you want, we can send it to your dad or anything. And I do apologize for not making it clear that he wasn't going to come on. I do apologize for that. So
No, it's all good, all good.
So we really appreciate your time, and hopefully we can do it again soon, man. So good luck on Friday. We know you guys are going to come home with a W.
All right.
Yeah,
Man.
and tell Nardi, if he don't answer my text messages, I'm gonna put him in that Draymond Green headlock.
In that sleeper hole.
Yeah, put him in that Draymond headlock real quick. Drag him across that V.
All right,
good.
man. Good seeing
All
you,
right,
man.
Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Have a great night.
All right, fellas.
Later.
Later.
Coach Ashley Howard, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much to Coach for sitting down and chopping it up with us and letting us know what's really going on behind the scenes, what the mood is this week at practice, and how that they're determined to respond against Maryland on Friday. Obviously, these Big 5 games are tough, Ray, but we're used to winning all of them, right? We're used to taking care of business when it comes to Penn, LaSalle, St. Joe's, Temple. We had a tough loss last year at Temple. I remember back when I was a junior in the 2018-19 season, we also lost to Penn with Coach Wright and with Booth and Pascal as seniors leading that squad. So it's not completely foreign to us. Is it something that we're happy about? No, but I do think it's a little bit too premature to completely hit the panic button and write the season off, which is unfortunately what a lot of people were doing. We're here to tell you that it's, maybe take your pedal, you're off the metal a little bit, because just, we need to relax and make sure that we give ourselves a chance to rebound here against Maryland on Friday. I have to think that we're going to be playing with some extra juice with the Mikal Bridges jersey retirement ceremony going on Friday at the Pavilion. I think it's going to be a packed house. It's a Friday night game. I think there's going to be some serious intensity. We're familiar with Coach Kevin Willard, who, like Coach Howard told us, we're familiar with a lot of those battles that we've had with him. And, they beat us, but we've done a good job of beating Kevin Willard-led teams. I remember when this matchup first came out, you look back on it and you're like, geez, we have had a lot of success against Seton Hall, but they always are going to give us a tough game. So those guys, they lost 2 in a row. Davidson, it's just not what they expected to be at this point. Sure, did we expect to be 3-0? Yes. Did they expect to be 1-2? Absolutely not. So they're going to come out with some intensity, with some juice, with some fire as well, Ray. So it's a little too early to panic, but this certainly is a big one when it comes to Maryland on Friday night, Allen.
Yeah, that kind of was blowing mine a little bit, man. After 3 games, like writing off the season, writing off the team, writing off the coach, like it's a little bit premature to do stuff like that. But I get where everybody is coming from. It was a bad loss, and I think one of the main things about the situation is like last year. It's like everybody got PTSD because of our season last year, and like to see us lose to Penn, it just brought back a shit ton of memories for everybody that weren't good, and a lot of people were panicking. But it's only the 3rd game of the season, and I mean, we lost, we took a L. Would you want that later on in the season or get it out the way now? And I think it's good going into the Maryland game, because now we got a little bit more fire under our belts to really want to go out there and succeed and get a dub. But the main thing for me that was missing against Penn was the bodies on the floor, bodies all over the place, guys getting to the 50-50 balls first. Like, we didn't get to those 50-50 balls first. We were late on closeouts, got killed on the I don't want to say killed, because it wasn't like we lost by 10 rebounds or anything like that, but we got out rebounded by Penn, which shouldn't happen, man. We got the athletes to do that. And I know that was definitely addressed in the film session. I was addressed in practice, and I was addressed in the talks after the game. So, I'm confident. I'm ready to move on from that Penn game and get onto this Maryland game, because this Maryland game is going to be tough. Like you said, Coach Willard, he's familiar with us. Maryland has lost 2 games in a row. So I'm pretty sure their fan base is kind of blowing up a little bit right now. So it's the biggest game of the season right now, and not just because of Maryland, but because of all the other factors that surround it.
Right. Yeah, they're going to be ticked off too. They lost two straight games. They literally have a losing record, Ray. So they're not happy over there in Turptown. But when it comes to what I think the level of intensity, energy, and focus is among Villanova after that loss, it seems like they're it's a bit of a wake up call. Coach Howard was supposed to come on with us. He literally texted me saying, we're still in the film session. We're gonna need to push it back a little bit. I was like, you know what? I'm happy. That's good news to me that you guys are still dialed in the film room and just really examining what went wrong and what we can improve on, because it was not a pretty game. I think it actually shows that, to how good we can be, that it was only a 4-point loss, Ray. I mean, those guys they shot way better than we did. The only thing that they didn't do better than us was free throw shoot, right?
Yeah.
We're always a good free throw shooting team. We don't need to worry about that. But we got outplayed. Coach Howard said it, manhandled in a lot of ways, and that's not something that we expect to happen against UPenn. And that's what did happen. It's unfortunate. We're going to take, I'm pretty sure the guys are going to take what they can to learn from it, use that as an experience to learn from, grow from, get better, and to really just have that extra fire when it comes to playing Maryland on Friday. And then it all turns to the battle for Atlantis Thanksgiving weekend, which is another massively, I would say, important test for this Villanova squad. But it starts on Friday against Maryland. I think it's going to be a put up or shut up type game for the Wildcats. Show us what you're made of type of test. And I have every reason to believe that they're going to show up, show out for Mikal Bridges in his honor, and to really bounce back, play well, shoot well, get, like you said, get those 50-50 balls, dive on the floor, whether it be the transfers, whether it be the young guys like Housen, Armstrong, or, the old guys like Dixon and more. I think everybody's going to bring it, and I really have to believe that this was a one-time thing, I guess, for the early part of the season, where it's like a disappointing loss, because I think moving forward, we're going to be able to handle our business. And talking to Coach Howard, listening to what he had to say about what those guys are focusing on in practice, what the mindset is like, it gives me confidence in saying, like, okay, these guys are not like blowing this off. These guys are not letting this get to them. They're going to use it as fuel to the fire, and they're going to make sure that they take a step in the right direction rather than have this stymie them and really blow up the whole season, which I know is what people are worried about, because, like you said, they saw it last season. This isn't last season. This is a completely different roster. We have more talent. We have more experience. We have age. We're the oldest team in college basketball area. I think these guys are just mentally tough enough to handle a loss like this, learn from it, move on, get better, and go get a win on Friday.
Yeah, so that's going to be the big key right there, is how these guys respond. Just like you said, nothing else to like analyze. Like Mark Armstrong's mom said, no over analyzation. Nah, right. I don't even know if that's a word about the situation. And I feel the same way. Just we got to respond. Just go back, get to the lab, and come out and respond. Let's not commit the same mistakes that we did in the Penn game, and let's correct them in the Maryland game, get a W, and let's keep pushing forward.
Yes, sir. Focus on that defense, focus on rebounding, as Coach Howard talked about. I knew as soon as I asked about the bad shooting night in the 2-3 zone affecting it, and he responded with the defense and rebounding, I was like, that's Villanova basketball right there. Yeah. So I walked right into that one, Ray. But we really appreciated having him on. Hopefully we get to do it again soon. Hopefully we're talking about more wins than losses. But That was great. It was a real 2 cents and a peek behind the curtain a little bit of what is going on, and I really appreciated that. And it shows the character of the players and how much Coach Howard really respects and loves these guys, not just as players but as people, as men. And I just think we had some funny stories in there too, A-Ray, with you getting recruited, playing some basketball, eating some Chinese food, and Coach Howard really liked that one because he certainly could not even compare that to the recruitment that goes on nowadays with the NIL and transfer portal. It's a whole new ball game. It's a completely different animal. So it's just, that was really funny, man. You cracked me up with that.
Like, do you think these guys even like go see these guys, like the transfers?
Maybe take them out to dinner. I mean, that's what I've heard. I remember when we were doing a lot of our recruiting, with Hunter Dickinson and some other transfers. It was, all right, let's take these guys out to dinner. It'll be a lot of the coaching staff, maybe some of the current players in there, and just kind of chop it up and have a good night kind of thing. Whereas that wasn't really even allowed, I guess, under certain rules and violations back in the day. But currently, with the landscape that we have, with the accessibility of NIL and pay for play, as Coach Greenberg, who we referenced earlier, like to call it, it's certainly a whole new ball game, and you kind of got to pull out all the stops, right, Ray?
Yeah, you do. It definitely is different times now, and it's not the same like it was. But like we got transfers and we got some high school recruits, so like we're doing what we're supposed to do. Just gotta get back to them. Just get back to them winning ways. Like that's all anybody is really looking for, is for the team to get back to the winning ways. And everybody knows how good we are, how talented we are. So it's gonna be a lot of pressure this year, and I'm just glad that I'm not on that team.
No, you're right.
I don't
You're
have
right
to deal
about
with
that.
that pressure.
You're right about that. A lot of pressure already, as we can see, with the immediate response of dropping the third game of the season. People calling for Coach Neptune's job already. It's like, hold on, guys. Hold your horses. Let's take it easy.
What is life,
here.
yo?
Yeah. What is ball, yo? I mean, come on now. So, it's very, very funny. Coach Howard talked about a little bit, just like the relevance of social media now. We're on social media, Ray. We do it. We like to feed into the positive more so than the negative. But tonight, I think we did a good job of keeping it real with everybody. And I hope that you guys that you listeners out there are enjoying this and are taking something from it and using it and judge it on your own. Judge Coach Howard's words and our questions, everything. Use the context clues to judge and formulate your own opinion, because that's all we could do, right, Ray? I think we did a good job of being an outlet for you guys to come to, listen, dissect, and take in the information, and then come out with your own opinion, because this is what we're here to do. We care about this team. We love this team. We love the fan base, but it's like, hold on just a minute here, folks. I think we're going to be okay. A-Ray believes in it as well, as you've seen on Twitter. And I really think that it's going to be a fun one on Friday. Mikal Bridges retirement ceremony. That's going to fire everybody up. That's at the Pavilion. A-Ray and I, Miguel, we're going to be hosting a little game watch party in New York City. We're going to have a lot of Villanova bodies there. People supporting the Wildcats. Good mojo going. And it's going to be a fun one, because I think we're gonna really show up and show out and prove that this team is certainly more talented than what we showed on Monday night.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to our watch party.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make sure I don't eat anything, so when I go there, I can like gorge out and
it's good food,
really,
man.
Yeah, really enjoy myself. But yeah, man, OC, I just don't have any more words. Like, I'm just ready to watch this game, ready to see how these guys respond, and ready for some Nova fans. I'm not even gonna say Nova fans, some casuals to like have a foot in their mouth after this Maryland game. But we'll see what happens, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm just ready for it. Like
Yes, sir.
I'm done with the words.
Yeah, no, it's right. It's time. It's time to move on. It's time to focus on the game on Friday night, which is rapidly approaching, and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have a great crowd watching the game. And hey, Ray, it's gonna be the first time you, me, and Nick and I get to meet. I'm really looking forward to that, and it's gonna be a ton of fun, man. So I really think that we're gonna have a successful Friday night, both at the pavilion for Mikal Bridges, for all the Villanova faithful there, as well as the folks at Schaefer's in New York City joining A. Ray, Slick, and I. And just want to say some thank yous tonight to Coach Ashley Howard, his father, Maurice Mo Howard, the Maryland basketball legend. Got a little juice there in the Howard household. I'm sure they'll be talking some smack, as well as Carrie and Robert Conti. Thank you guys so much for hooking it up, and just an absolute pleasure to sit down and listen to what Coach Howard had to say. He's a great basketball mind and is obviously very, very much aware of what is going on with the team being on the sidelines night in, night out. But just the final thought for me, Ray, is the great stories that he had with Mikal. That was fun. Just his redshirt year, the things that he had to go through. It was really awesome to see that connection, how much it really meant to Coach Howard and what this means for Villanova basketball with getting Mikal's jersey in the Raptors on Friday night.
Definitely. And just want to finish my final thoughts, just piggybacking off something you said earlier. Kind of got to toot our horns a little bit. We just brought in, Coach Ash after, Villanova had that loss to Temple, which, it's kind of hard to do. You're not seeing a lot of people out there getting to talk to these coaches after games. Like, I'm sure there's nobody on Duke's staff that's went on a podcast after they lost to Arizona, you know what I'm saying? And just want to say thank you for Coach Ash for coming on there for us and talking about the game a little bit and then talking about Maryland. So I think that this episode is going to bring really good value to a lot of our listeners. They get to hear it from the coach and not from us two guys and not from Twitter and not from like college basketball analysts. Like, they're hearing it from somebody who sits on the bench every single day and is with the guys every single day. So I feel like we just brought a ton of value to the Villanova community, and I hope you guys really listen to this. There's a lot of good things said here, and you can kind of get a little bit of our mindset here at Villanova, like why we always so positive. Like, I know that probably gets y'all sick as hell that I'm always positive and like never want to say anything negative. Like, that's just the easy thing to do. Like, it's so easy to be negative, and like it's hard as hell to be positive all the time. And you got to understand, like, there's good situations in bad situations. You just gotta find them. So that's kind of like my final thoughts of what I wanted to say. And Raynin threes, I think we're doing a really good job right now, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
I can't toot our horn so much. But
nah, man, come on.
We definitely doing a damn thing right now.
Yes, sir. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in and showing us love. We know we've gotten a lot of good stuff from us, from our supporters, our listeners on Twitter, on Instagram. People are in your inbox. A-Ray, people have been texting me, seeing what's up. And we hope to see you guys on Friday night, whether it be at the Pavilion or at the Raynin Threes watch party at Schaefer's in New York City. We love and appreciate your guys' support. And thank you very much to Coach Howard. We'll get you guys next time.
Yes, sir. V's up. Appreciate you, Nova Nation.